Welcome, everybody. First of all, I miss you guys. Usually when you guys are coming, I'm already in another room, and by the time I'm done with the passes, everybody left, and I'm like, hi, people. It is nice to be here, especially the day after Valentine's, also known as 50% off chocolate sale. Yeah. But we're gonna jump on the bandwagon, and it was Valentine's, so let's keep talking about love a little bit longer. So the platinum rule. Have you guys heard of the golden rule? I'm pretty sure everybody knows, right? So the golden rule says, do unto others as you have them do unto you. Simple, nice. We're trying to be nice people, so. But there's two approaches to that golden rule. First, as we're still trying to develop our moral, our spiritual, our emotional, we may look at the. Let's see, do I have a pointer? Yeah. We may have a karmic view into the golden rule, where everything is based on fears. So I look at that and I say, okay, I'm not gonna harm Peter because I don't want him to harm me. So we're gonna be nice and friendly because I'm afraid that if I do anything to him, he may do something bad to me. So as years pass and I'm growing, developing myself, I switch a little bit. I shift my view into something a little bit kinder. I'm going to do something nice to Peter because I like him to do something nice to me. Now I don't have fear. I don't have the negative connotation. Now I'm thinking something more proactive. So the karmic view is still a good way, a good approach because we're trying to do better, but a little bit better if we do it with kindness, right? But today we're all here, we're trying to grow, so we're gonna push the envelope a little bit. So we're gonna talk about the platinum rule instead. And that's the best view out of the three, because right here, we're being completely selfless. We're treating others as they want to be treated. So what is the main difference here between the two? The golden rule, it's still me-centered. It's what I would like to do, what I don't want to have done to me. I'm still thinking about myself. Now when I'm flipping to the platinum rule, I'm thinking more about the other person or everybody else. It's not about me anymore. It's not what I want, what I wish, what I would like, but I'm putting myself into a place of service. If I'm here. Oops, let me go back for a second. So since my husband is not here today, that means permission to pick on him, right? Isn't that how?
So go back to the golden rule.
So go back to the golden rule, yeah. But we are very different people. Even though we're together for 30 plus years, we are very different. If you ask him what a perfect day will be for him, it will be very different than my perfect day. Is that for you guys the same? You too? So everybody's different. So what we want is different than the other person. So my husband does not have the love and appreciation for Neil Young that I do. He really could care less about the Neil Young music, and I listen all the time.
Yeah, classic rock.
I love it. He absolutely loves the weather right now. beautiful days, chilly, it's just perfect. And I'm like, it's too cold, I miss the summer. Or he goes to bed super early, wakes up early, and for me, going to bed at 1 a.m. is considered early. So very different. So if I'm having the thought of a golden rule and I want to make a perfect day for him, so what I would like to have as a perfect day, I'll wake up very late. We'll go to a Neil Young concert. We're going to eat something very mushy and soft. And then we'll come home and we'll do puzzles until 2, 3 a.m. That's perfect. Nice day. I'm happy. And there'll be a nightmare for him. He will hate the music. He'll hate the heat because this, of course, is in the summer. If I tell him, sit down and do a puzzle with me, it's completely punishment for him. And I love so much that I'm pretty close to be needing an intervention about my puzzle obsession. So if we're trying to have a marriage based on golden rules, that would be a very short marriage. Now, if you think about platinum rule, that's when we're making amendments, we are trying to be nice to each other and give and take, and that way everybody ended up happy. Even though sometimes he listens to Neil Young. And I go to car shows, in my defense. Now, this is a nice concept. You see this golden rule, platinum rule everywhere, but does the Spiritism talk about that at all? Or that's just a nice concept? So let's see. So in the Spirit's book, there's a section that talks about all the moral laws. And the higher spirits put together to be the last one in the book, the law of justice, love, and charity. And they were smart enough to bundle all that together because it's so connected. The justice, the love, and the charity ended up being one big thing. So the question 886, Kardec asked them, what is the true meaning of the word charity as used by Jesus? Not our view, but his view on charity. And the answer is benevolence for everyone, indulgence towards the imperfections of others, and forgiveness of offenses. So when I see that, to me, that's the definition of the platinum rule. I'm being nice to everyone. Now, if I know the person, I can tailor my service to that person according to what they want. Be indulgent towards the imperfections of others. That means it doesn't matter how you act, what you do in your life, I'm gonna be nice anyway. And forgiveness of offenses. So even if you hurt me, I'm gonna do my best to show you love. So right below that, they put a comment saying, love and charity complement the law of justice. So that shows the connection of all of them. And that's because love your neighbor is to do to them all the good in your power. So then we go a little bit further and say, okay, Spirit's book, we can find something about everything, but is there anywhere else? And that's when, anytime we talk about relation or anything emotional health, I like to bring Joana de Angelis, which is the message that we read that Peter read on the beginning. So this book here, bring it up. Self-discovery, inner search. She talks a lot about all those same principles, but of course it's Joana de Angelis. So She's very structured, very deep and profound on all psychological matters. But she says right here, in its first manifestation, love derives from instinct of ownership and the use of selfish pleasures. So right here is the beginning of the golden rule, when we have all the karmic feelings. We're still having ownership, selfish pleasures, we still act on instinct. Something I want to preserve myself, so I want to make sure that I'm okay with what's happening. But then it crosses a period of inferiority. However, love breaks the handcuffs in which it is attached to in order to alter the content that is projected in a sublime way. So as we grow, we break the handcuffs of our selfishness, of our ego, and then we can project the love into what other people need in a sublime way. So we become a person of service. And she keep on saying, in this natural scaling of clear consciousness or the transcendence of ego, so that shows us growing towards the road of cosmic conquest. So this is all that we're looking for, right? Become a higher level spirit. So we go through all that to each particular phase, and it is noteworthy to examine the following: how one reacts to one's own self, one's conduct in reference to others. So, golden rule is still here, and then the platinum rule: how to develop inner values regarding oneself and others. So we are breaking the barrier of me, myself, ego-centeredness, to be serving others, to be in contact with other people, and through that mutual relation, we grow and everybody grows together. So why then it's so hard? Unless you guys think that'll be easy to do something like that. It sounds pretty easy when we are here thinking about, yes, let's do that, it's beautiful, it's better, but when we get out there and while actually trying to put that in practice, we have our best friend, little ego here. And this, I didn't put here as the good ego, the one that builds our character. That one is the one that brings us down. That's me.
The one that is followed by ism.
Isman, yeah. So it's the disease of our ego. It becomes very hard when we put expectations into the love we're giving. So I'm gonna give a book to Valdo, and I'm doing something nice to him. So I'm expecting that from now on he's gonna be nice to me. And he may be nice to me, but I may not see it. I may want something much bigger because that's my personality, and not recognize the quiet, nice, loving, quiet way that he may give.
You didn't even return your book.
Okay, I mean Peter. No, I remember one time my boss at the time gave me a gift, and I'm like, oh, that's so nice. I really like it. Thank you. And next day, she's like, you hate it. And I'm like, I say, thank you. I told you I like it. And she's like, yeah, but that was it. That's all you say. So you hate it. And I'm like, why are you thinking that? And then she say, well, if you give me a gift and I like, I'm going to scream, I'm going to hug, I'm going to tell everybody, I'm going to make just big commotion. And I was like, oh, Well, that's you, and I'm not like that. So her expectations of what niceness was, it's not what I gave it back. So I'm like, oops, sorry, I'm glad you told me. So now I'm gonna make a big boo whenever you need affirmation. But she viewed that as ingratitude, even though I was super happy with what I got. But every time that we put our expectations in place and we perceive as they not being fulfilled, we start to have ingratitude, or we see people not being grateful for what we did at all, and then we're like, come on, I did something so nice for you and you just don't even care. Another thing that gets in the way are plain distractions. We get so used to get in the mode of go, 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 day to life. I go to work, I have my routine when I get home, I go to bed, I forget about other people. That's not malicious, but we create habits that keep us away from people. And the worst of all are the resentments. Like, I see something nice, I think of the person, oh, this is perfect for the person, but I'm not gonna get that for her, or I'm not gonna give that to her because she was nice to me in 1995. Especially with family, it's so easy to get into the motion that, oh yeah, I wanna do something, I wanna be of service to a person, but their cousin did this thing so long ago, and so I'm not gonna do it. So we ended up putting back all the handcuffs and keeping us away from our own growth. But besides all that, should I do it anyway? Should I be nice anyway? Okay, I got 2 yes, so let's keep going. Now let's give them assurance why we should do it anyway. And again with Joana de Angelis. Love is the sustenance of life, which acts inside the being and harmonizes the electronic equipment of the perispirit. Can it be any more technical than that? Responsible for spirit-matter interaction. Its vibration calms and gives security, and at the same time refuels us with irreplaceable strength and vitality. So,
The Viagra from the soul.
exactly. And it's just love, simple love. So to me, it feels like the more we're trying to do to others, to step away from the self is the one that's benefit the most. Have most of you here that I know has some connections with Brazil, so I'm pretty sure everybody went to the beach. And you get lotion, and you're putting lotion on yourself, you're putting lotion on somebody else, your hand smells like lotion. So it's impossible for you to be with all that energy, with giving all that, and not be impermeated with the same love. And that helps us in the end, because it is the sustenance of life. It helps us to a perispiritual level. It's not just, oh, niceness. Actually changes, because here we are talking about vibration, and that calms and gives security and vitality. Now, if you're not convinced, she has more. She has so many reasons why we should express love. Love only becomes greater when channeled by mind and knowledge. So it's not just the thought, not just come here Thursday, talk about love, think about love, go home and go back to your old habits. It's connecting the mind and the knowledge and put into action. Love is the most vigorous foundation for the construction of a healthy personality, That is so because love generates a stable behavior. So still, I'm the one benefiting of all that. Love stimulates the development of spiritual faculties that lay dormant in the subtle layers of the deep self. When I read that, I think that every single one of you here is a diamond in the rough. So we have all the power, all the love itself inside of us. But as we're still in the process of growth, it's still a lot of that is still dormant on us. So for us to start to take layer by layer, so we can develop our faculties, the tool to be doing that, it's exactly the expression of love. And one of the main purposes of reincarnation is the achievement of love, absolute affection, not just romantic love or friendship love, is absolution for spiritual growth and self-improvement. So still, I'm the one benefiting of all that. Stepping away from the ego and still benefiting even more. And she closes with, love is the strongest creative force that we know in the world. Its power is responsible for the magnificent works of humanity. So there's absolutely no question that we can do that. We have all that inside of us. We have all the potential, and it's a creative force. So it's not something that you just come to the love level and you arrive and that's it. It's always creating, it's always progressing. So we always have room to grow with that, especially on the kind of spiritual advancement that we're now. We have eternity pretty much to work on. So besides Angelica and Peter, are you guys convinced that this is a good thing to work on? All right, but then where do I start? Again, nice to talk, but I want to know, okay, what can I do about that? Where can I start? And again, come back to me. It's always back to me, to you, each one of you. So Joanna is telling us, I'll give you a pathway so you can work on that if you wish to. And of course, she gives us a little bit of advice to build us up to them. Love is the greatest thing to be conquered. In this endeavor, everyone should apply one's most valuable resources and effort. So for me to be able to be nice to somebody else, I need to learn what the me means. Who am I? What am I doing here? However, the long staying in the instinctive stage can transform it in adversary due to the damage that are originated when love is expressed in a disorganized manifestation. That's a big phrase to say. You gotta be careful, because we come through many incarnations while we didn't know how to love, or we didn't know how to express this love yet. And by that, we ended up making mistakes. Most of the damages that she's talking about here, most of the hurt that we have in our lives are related to some kind of love or some kind of wanting or some relation to the golden rule. So if I love somebody and I give all my love and that's not reciprocated, that's when I hurt the most. And it's always the people that we love the most that can hurt us the most, because we put all our effort on them. So we are coming on a long staying on the instinctive stage. So even before the golden rule, where there were no rules, it's just me do what I want because that's what I want and do it right now. We step to the stage that, okay, now we can have a kind of symbiotic relationship, but we're still disorganized on the manifestation of this love. But then the individual who possesses a plurality of interests expands oneself towards nature, the self, and creating power that embraces the cosmos. So now it's my duty to make myself a better person. So now I can relate to each one of you. So it is up to me to grow, to have a plurality of interests, expand who am I, what I know, how I can relate. So now we can relate. And then when one achieves fullness, one irradiates in a co-creating form. Remember Jesus said that we can do as much as him and even more. We're co-creating, we're doing the same job, the same emanation of love that interchanges with the divine energies who maintain universal equilibrium. All right, nice. Now I know. Where do I start? I start on myself, but I still want to know how. I want to know the little details, how I do all that. And she literally have steps 1, 2, 3, 4 on how to teach us. She put as, these are the valuable techniques that help the individual to achieve gratifying emotional landings. So she's not saying you need to learn the platinum broom. She's saying you need to grow. You need to take hold of your emotions in a way that it's gratifying to yourself so you can become of service. And the first one is to generate thoughts of self-confidence and to register them by repetition. Now I want to bring attention to what self-confidence means. Absolutely not self-importance. I don't need to know how great I am, how important I am, how I do everything right because I'm going towards the other direction. I need to have the thoughts of self-confidence, meaning I know who I am, or I'm trying to find out who I am, and I especially know all my faults. So now I can work on, and I can register by repetition the behavior that I want to actually have in my life. So I know all my mistakes, I recognize them, I try to do different, and now I'm going to repeat the better behavior. Then she advises to establish programs of moral development and to set them. Are you actually here right now? Everybody's here. Are you here for the cafe that have no calories because it's spiritual cafe? No. So if you came here today to listen to a lecture, you are establishing already a program of moral development. And if you're coming constantly every Thursday, you're setting the program in place. So you already put a big check mark on number 2 because you're already doing that. We don't need to talk about it anymore. Then comes a little bit harder here. Correct the vicious habit of using people as things and consider them disposable. So stepping away of what can you do for me? We're not Is that what Uncle Sam says on the poster that he's on? Don't ask what America can do for you. What can you do for America? Isn't that what it says? We put ourselves on that position. What can you do for me? That means we're using people instead of how can I be of service to you? The way you need service, not the way I think you should have something done. And then to value experience and live it, avoiding self-pity, which conceals a mechanism of envy in reference to happy people.
I have not a question. I think it's more like a reflection.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the golden rule, it's based on that principle of you don't know your neighbor.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what the other people concept of love is, but you know yours. So love God and above all things, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. But then what, like giving a very practical example, I'm Christian and I have a good friend who's Muslim and they don't eat pork, right? Say that I love pork. And so I invite him for dinner. So I would love to have pork, but I would probably just have something else, maybe turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Because I know that, so sort of like a transcended that I would love to be invited for dinner, but I'm taking into consideration that what it's not just good for me, that's good for them.
Yeah, their feelings
Their
into
feelings,
place.
I'm putting them into that equation.
Yeah. So you're taking your view of I want to have this kind of dinner and I'm entitled to it to I'm going to bring them into my life. We're going to have a communion here, but I'm going to take in consideration what their point of view is. So I'm not going to force my pork into a Muslim. I'm going to say, what would you like to have for dinner? Or I know you are okay eating turkey. I'm going to serve turkey. That's exactly the point. And when I'm going to just read to you guys so I don't have to step. On the beginning, when the first slide with the Spirit's book, the conclusion was love and charity complements the law of justice, since loving your neighbor is to do to them all the good in your power. So you have the power to accommodate what their needs or their feelings or what makes them happy. So do that. You have the power, as long as we step away from what I want. That's perfect.
Yeah. And that is perfect too. But just read because it complements what that parable was about.
So the platinum rule, it's wonderful for closer relationships because we know each other. But for somebody that I bump into Publix, is probably the first time that we are encountering each other, I'm not going to stop and say, would you like me to say I'm sorry because I bumped you with my car, or you want me to go get a bandage? That's impossible. So situations that I don't know the person, all I can do is the best that I can, all the good in my power. Now, my job is to make sure that I'm a good person, that I know myself and I know my faults, so I have a little bit of self-confidence to know how I act, so I can act better. So instead of turning and say, lady, where are you going? I can say, I'm sorry, are you okay? Did I hurt you? So I do the best on my power, thinking of the other person. Not specific because I don't know the person, but putting their well-being up front. And on the end here, value experience, live it, be yourself, don't look up what other people are doing to other people, and just have yourself in mind, but in relation to others, not yourself in mind because you are the best. And closing back with Spirit's book. question, the portion A of the question 888, the spirits tell us true charity is always gentle and compassionate, because the manner of practicing kindness is as important as the kindness itself. A service, when gracefully rendered, has twice as much merit. So when we stop to do something, let's say you're in traffic and you see some homeless asking for food, instead of here is the food, would it take much longer to say, hey, I have that for you, how are you doing? Just a smile, just a little kindness goes a long way. So gracefully have twice as much merit. The manner that we are doing, it's twice as much merit. And we saw in the beginning, the one that ended up gaining the most of all this giving, even if that's not the focus, ended up being ourselves. Love is vibration. We now physically, like to the quantum physics level, we know that it is a vibration and it reverberates and it comes back to us. So that's all for tonight. I thank you all. Didn't pass the time, so nobody will scream at me. So I hope you guys enjoy that, and I hope that I didn't push that into what I think we all should do. Give me some feedback so I know, okay, I don't want to hear about that anymore. I want to hear about whatever is the subject, because we are all here in the center as volunteers to give a little bit from ourselves to whoever wants to come and partake.
We have time to go over that.
Yes. Well, Marcio always brings a song to his lectures, and I tend to always bring a poetry. And I got to the end, and I'm like, I cannot close and do a whole lecture not talking about Khalil Gibran or some kind of poetry. But one of my favorite, which is not my husband's favorite, of course, Khalil Gibran, he says, love one another, but make not a bond of love. So don't strangle itself. Let it be a moving sea between the shores of your souls. Fill each other's cup, but drink not from one cup alone. So love is give and take. It's a moving sea. It's the back and forth. It's something organic and not at all a bond. Nothing that would tie. Even though we use wedding rings, it's not something that ties. Something infinite. And you can, if you wish, you can explore down our vibrations now.